Welcome to the Best Hidden America channel. Today, we present the second part of the Zodiac Killer. Do you like horror videos? Then make sure to check out our other content, where we publish scary videos every day. In the late 1960s, Northern California was shaken by a series of brutal crimes that not only shocked the region, but also baffled law enforcement officials. A mysterious serial killer who would come to be known as the Zodiac terrorized the area, leaving behind a trail of unsolved mysteries that continue to fascinate and intrigue people to this day. So let us dive into the chilling tale of the Zodiac Killer and explore what makes his case one of the most perplexing and enduring mysteries of our time. But before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Also, stick around until the end of the video to learn about some of the unanswered questions that still surround this gruesome case. You won't want to miss it. The story began in the late 1960s when a mysterious killer began to stalk the streets of Northern California. His first confirmed attack occurred in December 1968 when he shot and killed a couple in their car. However, it wasn't long before he struck again. On January 1969, the body of another young woman was found dumped in a secluded area. And just a few days later, a man and his girlfriend survived an attack by the same killer. These attacks continued throughout the year, with the Zodiac Killer targeting young men and women who were parked in cars or in remote areas. His methods were brutal and random, and he seemed to take pleasure in terrifying his victims and witnesses alike. As the attacks continued, the police were baffled. They had no idea who was responsible or how to stop him. But the killer wasn't done yet. He wanted to make sure that everyone knew who he was and what he was capable of. And so he began sending letters to local newspapers claiming responsibility for the murders. The letters were signed with a strange crosshair symbol that would become synonymous with the killer. In these letters, he taunted the police for their failure to catch him and offered cryptic clues as to where he might strike next. One of the most disturbing aspects of these letters was the killer's apparent delight in his own evil deeds. He seemed to revel in the fear he was causing and took a sick pleasure in describing his crimes in vivid detail. It was as if he wanted to be caught, but only to show off how clever and cunning he was. The killer continued to evade the police and strike again and again. By 1969, he had claimed the lives of at least 5 people and injured several others. The fear he had created was palpable, and the mystery of his identity only grew. Then, in October of that year, he wrote a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle that contained a cipher. It was a coded message that the killer believed only a genius could decipher. The cipher read, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." And when it was finally solved, it gave a chilling insight into the killer's mind. It confirmed what the police and public had long suspected. The Zodiac Killer was indeed a psychopath who got a kick out of killing. But this wasn't the only cipher the killer sent. Over the years, he sent several more, each one more perplexing and disturbing than the last. Some contained clues to his identity, while others simply served to taunt the authorities. Despite the efforts of mathematicians, cryptographers, and amateur sleuths, many of these ciphers remain unsolved to this day. As the years passed, the Zodiac Killer continued to elude the authorities. He remained a ghost, a shadow, a bogeyman who lived in the minds of those he had affected. Over time, the attacks became less frequent, but the fear he had created lingered on. In the end, the Zodiac Killer was never caught. The mystery of his identity remains one of America's most famous unsolved cases. Throughout the course of the investigation, police officials looked into hundreds of potential suspects, but none could be tied directly to the crimes. One of the men who became the focus of the investigation was Arthur Lee Allen. Even though he was never formally accused of the killings, he became the prime suspect in the case. Allen had a criminal record that dated back to 1936, and his behavior matched the profile of the Zodiac Killer in some ways. For instance, he was known to frequent the areas where the crimes took place and was seen driving a car that matched the description of the one used by the killer. Additionally, investigators uncovered a disturbing secret from Allen's past. In 1948, He had been convicted of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl, an assault that bore a striking resemblance to one of the Zodiac Killer's attacks. However, despite all of this evidence against him, Allen was never formally charged with the killings. Some believe that the police were so focused on Allen that they overlooked other potential suspects, while others argue that there simply wasn't enough evidence to charge him. Regardless, Allen became a well-known person of interest in the case, and his connection to the Zodiac Killer has been the subject of much speculation over the years. In addition to Allen, various other men have been considered as possible suspects in the case, including several military men, teachers, and even writers. Some of these theories are more plausible than others, but none have been proven beyond a doubt. After the investigation into the Zodiac Killer wrapped up without any arrests, the case went cold. The mystery of his identity remained unsolved, and the killer himself became a thing of legend. Despite the lack of closure, the case had a profound impact on the American public and left an indelible mark on the national consciousness. The Zodiac Killer case became one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in American history and inspired countless books, movies, and TV shows. It also led to a renewed focus on catching serial killers and other violent criminals, and helped to create a new breed of criminal profiling expert. Today, the legacy of the Zodiac Killer continues to live on. Advances in DNA technology and cryptography have given hope that the case may finally be solved, but the killer's true identity remains unknown. Now let's move on to the final part of this video. We've covered the gruesome details of the Zodiac Killer case and explored the many theories surrounding his identity. But there are still some unanswered questions that continue to baffle experts and enthusiasts alike. What was the motive behind the killings? What drove this mysterious killer to target young couples and taunt the authorities with cryptic messages? Was the Zodiac Killer a lone genius, or part of a larger criminal conspiracy? And why did he suddenly stop his reign of terror after 1969? These are just a few of the burning questions that remain unanswered, even after all these years. As we wrap up this chilling tale, we're left with more questions than answers. The Zodiac Killer case is a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the shadows of our society and the lengths to which a human mind can twist. It's a mystery that has captivated the public imagination for decades, and one that continues to inspire awe and terror in equal measure. If you're still captivated by this chilling tale and want to learn more about similar cases, we highly recommend checking out our other videos. Just search for more keywords to find more interesting videos. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest releases. Thanks for watching. Until next time.